under emergency backup battery power. Long story short, computer go boom. I've switched over to my Surface, which is why the video quality is probably not as great as my normal webcam. The sound probably is not as great as my normal... actually, I should try and plug the headphones in. Bear with me one moment.
What the? That just exploded.
Hello. Nobody needs that much. Okay, we are back under battery backup, as I say. We're going to turn this week's Minecraft into a bit of a emergency escape podcast style sit down and chat. I've gone over into the IRL section, which is fresh, new place for me to actually stream into. Just check that it's all working. Yeah, that seems to be up. That can go away before it... my computer's just exploded, so... My actual... which is, as I'm saying, we're on emergency backup battery power, which is... We're streaming via my Surface right now. Hopefully it's actually handling the stream okay. Can any of you guys that are actually in the call at the moment check that the stream is alive and running, albeit probably a little bit lower quality than normal? Buggy how? Well, I mean, the way they should have made revenue was the money that we're giving them. That's when you could have more money. Or you could have not taken these features away from us previously. So I'm going to take a couple of these books out. Anyway, that's pretty much what you're getting on the stream tonight, I'm afraid. We've got a bit of time, so Geoff, The main reason I wanted to come to battery backup rather than just call it for the night. I know that you've released a thing today. Bear with me while I message people to ensure that people that might want to be here for this discussion are here. Maddie says, Jeffrey. Queen Creep says, oh, hello, fuckers. Still messaging Sammy. We have been teasing this since Sunday. Oh yes. So to give you a bit of backstory to this backstory. This is something I discussed with the crew of the airship on Sunday night. Last week. So are we supposed to be hearing just you, or is there more? You should be hearing... Geoff, can you say something? Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. Why aren't you streaming the other audio channel? That's useful. Oh, it's... Okay, try saying another thing. No, it's...
It might not come through yet.
Ah, there we go. There we go.
Insult roulette.
We'll find out.
Now you should be hearing everybody else who is in the Discord with me. It happened because I plugged in headphones and it decided, you know what, those headphones? I don't want to listen to those headphones.
Not everyone else.
Pretty much.
So, back to the backstory. Last week...
Sorry, I'm just getting shot at.
Sean and...
Last week.
Sean and Rekia are still playing Minecraft. I can't do that because that would be fun for me. And apparently I'm not allowed that today. Last week, a week ago today, Geoff messaged me and said... I hope you're reading the chat, Geoff.
I'm not reading the chat. Well, I was reading the chat, but it wasn't updating properly.
You should be reading the chat right now. Geoff messaged me and said, the backstory notes for the D&D characters, do you have those written down somewhere? And I said to him, well, they're on your character sheet. You know, in case somebody wanted to read them, such as, say, if, you know, for no reason at all, someone had been reading everybody's backstory recently to look at things that are there that could be played upon. And he said, could maybe somebody else go first?
So what I was thinking was, if say someone were to be exploring these backstories, could they not do mine first? Because I had some ideas. And then I went on to say, preferably everybody else's first.
Okay.
And
However,
then on
then-
Friday, just before we started the stream of GTA 5, where we successfully saved the world, so you can, you know, thank us for the not robot apocalypse. Geoff sent me a link to his backstory, to the thing that became Danielle and Astrid. I read it and went, holy fook. And then I gave him some creative feedback, and then we revised it.
Added a couple of bits here and there, tweaked a couple of bits here and there.
And then we got it ready. And I was prepared to release it. Maddie says, thanks for saving the world.
You're welcome.
I was prepared
fun
to
doing
release it not this Friday, but next Friday. So it would basically have been, this Friday would have been Nemesis Kriv's adventures in Skyreach Castle. And then the week after that, it would be, what happened with Danielle and Astrid? Who are these people? Because that's a name that, you know, that's a name that we don't recognize. But then, you guys got to a place a little bit sooner on Sunday than I was expecting. Because you guys got to Hawk's Nest just at the end of the session.
Yep.
And so I dropped in that bit with the ring.
That was awesome. I think, Sean, you came in for the tail end of that part, didn't you?
Yeah, I appeared. was distracted, but I was there.
And so the release of the thing got moved slightly up from next Friday to today. Hey, Scar. Taking Geoff's old spot of 12:30 Wednesdays. You know, this is a slot where Geoff's writing goes particularly well, I've found. Computer is faring in that it's having a rest right now. I've literally had to unplug it so that it stops trying to turn itself on and limping painfully onwards. Which is why you've kind of got this weird camera angle from my surface and about 5 frames a second or something.
It's
It's
not
fine
too bad at the
for-
moment, I'll be honest.
It's actually fine for me.
Oh, well, that's better
Doing
than
well.
it's... I've turned the settings to a point where the computer can actually handle, apparently, 30
You
FPS.
waved your 11th Doctor Sonic screwdriver at it.
Actually, I'll point this out. Because it's within reach now. I've got the laser screwdriver. And also this is the Ninth Doctor's sonic screwdriver. You can tell it's the Ninth Doctor's one because it's the one they made before they started making the show that was pink because they put the wrong colour pigment out on the first batch of these. And so in the show it's actually grey, but the first toys they made were a pink colour.
That's interesting. Didn't know that.
Doctor Who nerd.
Anyway, drag us kicking and screaming back to the subject
Well,
at hand.
apparently we're going to drag back kicking and screaming to the subject at hand. I'm just going to see if I can get my...
Kicking and screaming.
I'm going to get my Twitch chat up somewhere. Can I get it up on my phone?
What is a Twitch chat? What do you talk about?
Scar's asking, has your computer died for any particular reason?
It had an update to do. I was turning it off and back on again to see if that might perchance fix the problems it was having running Minecraft. And apparently in doing that, it triggered an update. And in doing that update, it's done what it's done a couple of times with updates where it's just killed the machine outright. Which I get the feeling is not their intention. But
hidden feature that is.
But might be because it's not got a lot of space on the C drive. But I would hope that rather than just bricking the PC, it would say, hey, we don't actually have enough space for that update you're trying to do. Can you maybe clear some space?
Unfortunately not. They'll try and brick it.
Can you maybe do a thing about it?
Unfortunately not. They'll brick it first.
Oh, yeah.
I have repeatedly tried turning it off and on again as an IT guy.
It also tried turning itself back on again on its own.
It has also repeatedly tried to turn itself back on again without my input, in sort of a weird, slightly possessed computer way. I'm at the
and as Maddie said, every IT guy ever. Have you tried turning it on and off again? Yes.
4 times now, yes.
Anyway, have you got your Twitch tab yet?
No, I've got to get through 2-factor authentication first.
2-factor.
Well, I have to have 2-factor authentication because I'm a affiliate.
Yep.
Here we go.
I found lavender.
Well, anybody, like I say, anybody can actually have a.
I mean, you probably should have 2-factor authentication, but I have to have it because they pay me and they don't want my account to go walkies.
Well, they don't pay you, really.
But they have paid me.
They pay you when you've earned enough. I could take you forever. I know the feeling of that one.
So I've got about 9% battery life on my phone.
Well,
at the moment, so that can hang out for now. So basically,
oh, thank you.
Geoff messaged me earlier and said, "Are you Minecrafting tonight?" And I said foolishly, "Yeah, we're doing that. That'll go ahead, no problems."
Foolishly.
What could the problem possibly be? We don't have song requests going at the moment, or ever.
Whoa.
Sorry about that, close, Shan. Geoff said to me, "Are you Minecrafting later?" I said yes, foolishly believing that was going to be a thing that happened. And then he said he wanted to pop in and just discuss whatever came up naturally in the course of conversation.
Real natural, like.
Because I asked, "Is there anything in particular that you want to talk about?" And he said, just whatever comes up in the course of conversation. And so I think he was possibly assuming that I'd be slightly more distracted by the Minecraft element of this. No, apparently not.
Minecraft had different ideas.
Minecraft and my PC have different ideas on that matter. And now we get to shout at Geoff for breaking our hearts, as Maddie says.
All of which sounds entirely fair.
Yeah. So, Geoff, my first question, and I asked you this earlier, and you said, basically, I'll ask it later.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
How long have you been planning this?
Several parts to it. How long have I had the idea that Talon was a member of the Zentarum? A couple of months. It was shortly after we met Kriv the first time.
Right.
Remember, I asked you. Part of my backstory was that I was looking for something that I had lost, and then I came to you and said, "What if the thing I had lost was a Zentarum ring?"
Okay.
And you said that would be something that Talon would want to keep secret. And we never really did anything after that, but after then I saw it in the back of my mind that Talon was a member of the Zentarum. The rest of the stuff, the whole thing with Astrid, the whole thing with Cinderbar and stuff, that came out because we've been doing our playlists, our music soundtracks for our characters.
Yeah.
As I was coming up with those, I thought to myself, maybe there's a story here. Maybe there's something in Talon's past that he doesn't want people to know about. Maybe the reason he's so protective of Briar is because she reminds him of someone in his past he wasn't able to save. Maybe the two events are connected somehow, and it kind of grew out into that. So, but actual story, I didn't really have a story fully in mind until I spoke to you last Wednesday.
No, there's a unicorn on my. There's a unicorn, but no, that's not a unicorn. That's a wolf. Oh, why does it look like a unicorn in my video? Queen Creep says, "Oh, well, that will be fun when she's dying in Talon's arms in a few months' time."
Oh yes.
Going to be a lot of onion chopping going on.
There'll be a lot of onion ninjas going on then.
Maddie says, my heart. Briar reminds him of Astrid, my heart. Queen Creeps just screams, I know.
I know.
I don't know whether that's to the onion chopping. That's probably to the onion chopping.
Just kill Briar already.
There's no fun in that. I've got some things planned for that.
Ooh.
Fun for who?
Well, I mean, where's the fun in a quick death?
Ooh.
I mean,
Click the treasure chest. I got 15 gold pieces.
If Talon had just killed her at the weekend, then, I mean, it would have been quick and painless and over, but then Briar's gone.
That was an interesting situation, actually, yeah, because Talon's a sort of person. He knows when something, if something bad's got to be done, it's better to just do it rather than just, wait around and put it off.
Whip the bandage off.
Yeah. Just, do it and then sort it out afterwards. And he was that's why he's saying to Yaghol, make sure you got your healing word ready because we're about to need it.
True, Sammy. Where's the fun in a quick death? Exactly what he said for Kriv when he decided to bring him back.
Yeah, Sammy asked the question earlier on about, I was talking to Sammy earlier on about that previous encounter where it was Talon who caused Kriv's death. And the reason for that wasn't because Talon was trying to cover up the fact that he was a Zentarum, as somebody suggested. It's because he hates the Zentarum now for what they made him do.
He cries internally as he does the stabby stab.
Yep, pretty much.
Any of you guys in the chat got any questions for Geoff about Talon's shady past? I mean, how much of this are you sharing with the characters, or are we going to have to wait till next Sunday to find out?
Wait till next Sunday to find out what Talon's going to share with the characters. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have as people, not as D&D characters.
How old is Talon?
As of last Sunday, officially he's 75, but he magicked himself back to 35, which he should be.
He was 35, he aged to 75, he's now back down to 35 via way of wristband. If he gets Greater Restoration, he gets naturally back down to 35, but he has to be Greater Restoration within 24 hours of being ghosted, which I think about 10 of those hours are up already.
Yep. But as we said, as per the rules of the wristband is a permanent change unless you change something else. And if it's because the wristband can disintegrate, it's only got a limited number of charges, and whatever state you are when it disintegrates, that's how you are permanently.
Now, I've not told Queen Creeps that bit of the wristband.
Well, Briar doesn't know.
Briar doesn't know that. So when that story happened, how old was Talon and how old was Astrid?
I see it's happened early on. I mentioned that Talon was 12 when he ran away from home and into the streets. 3 years with Astrid and Zane, so he was 15, 16 when everything went down. And I saw Astrid as a couple of years older than him, so he was 12. She would probably be 15 already because she's looking after a bunch of kids. So 15/16 for Astrid, going to 18/19. Brian's an emotional mess. You won't bother with the wristband.
Well, I mean, not yet, but, eventually she might have some fun with it. I will tell you that it's currently in the double digits of numbers of how many charges it has left. It is noted down how many charges are on it in a place that only I can see. That has possibly popped up a couple of times on stream, but people don't necessarily know what it is.
Nobody knows what it is.
So you were married to Astrid, right? That's part of the storyline?
No, part of the storyline is Talon does get married in the backstory, but I see that as happening later on.
So that's to somebody else?
That's to somebody else, yes.
Okay. Because obviously if he's 15, 16 when this goes down, and he's 35 when he's with the party, you've still got a few you've still got a few years in there to fill out with adventures of pirates.
Yeah. Wait, Talon's married. Talon was married?
I can't remember what the exact wording of it. Yeah, it's... you had a love interest and got married.
Not necessarily the same... Is it worded... I don't think it's necessarily the same... Worded like it's the same person, is it?
It's implied that it's the same person, but it's open to interpretation.
Yeah, let me get it up.
I mean, he's 35 and Briar's 15, so for a start, she shouldn't be having her way with him. I mean, I'm liking some of the discussion I've had with Amy about Briar taking a level or two in Rogue.
Oh, yeah.
Which would open up some interesting options for her as a character. Well, I mean, Amy's not that... Amy's still quite young for Talon.
Wait, what?
Amy... Scar points out that he didn't say... He didn't say that Amy... He didn't say Briar have her way with Amy. He said Briar have her way with Talon. He said Amy couldn't. Briar hates romance and sees Talon as an older brother. Queen, what is it with you and killing other characters' spouses? Queen loves everyone. I mean, at least, Talon's spouse hasn't actually appeared in the game yet, whereas Theodas Renala has appeared in the game. You would gladly start a harem with all of the SKT crew. new brothel storyline? Well, I mean, you guys haven't visited a brothel yet. Are you guys still there?
Nah, we all died.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sad
Still
now.
there. Just waiting for
Well, I mean, of course, yet being the key word, it's always open to them possibly going to a brothel.
dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Amy wants a harem. Well,
Back to Talon's story. I'm amazed they shot the ring to the airship where Talon is. Yeah, that hasn't been explained yet. How they knew where he was.
The Black Network has spies everywhere. See previous question. You guys have not been overly stealthy, and word of your good deeds has gotten out there.
And the fact we've got a giant airship probably helps.
The airship does paint a rather large target on yourselves. So, word is spreading, and I have plans for that to be seen a bit more.
That's an interesting question Sammy has. I imagine that there's in time, don't let people leave that easily. Has Talon got problems with the Zents afterwards?
Well, Geoff, has Talon had any problems with a Zent?
One particular one.
There,
Who is now about to infiltrate Skyreach Fortress.
there is a reason why, at least recently, he hasn't had issues with a Zent. That hasn't come up in the storyline yet, but it will be coming up next week. So, I made Geoff check when we were setting his backstory in Sundabar. I made Geoff do a history check for Talon to see if he'd been keeping up on the history of his area, of his homelands.
And I hadn't.
And he hasn't. So Talon doesn't know the recent history of Sundabar.
Which makes sense, because I would leave it. Talon would leave it, never to see it again, as far as he knows. He's got no reason to.
So Talon doesn't know about what's been happening in the last couple of years, and the last couple of years have presented problems.
Well, last couple of years, last 20 years.
The last 5, in particular, for Sundabar, have caused issues that mean that the local faction have not been chasing. So there's 15 nice years in there where you can have issues with the Zent all you like, and then 5 years of peace, and then you meet up with the party.
That sounds okay, and Talon also has to get up to other stuff as well, according to his backstory.
So when he saw the Ring of Kriv, he remembered Astrid and redirected his hatred towards Kriv. Asks.
Pretty much. Pretty much, actually, yeah. I'm gonna say yes. That's as good a reason as any.
Amy says, I repeat again, Talon should count his lucky stars that Briar was there and not lose.
Oh yeah, Briar losing Trooper, that would have been it.
I'm curious to know. Like, I need to talk to Amy about this at some point. Not Amy, because Amy won't know how Trooper feels about things. I want to talk to Jennifer. I want to have a tongue in my mouth that works occasionally. I wish to talk to Jennifer at some point, because I want to know what Trooper's reaction would be if she was still there. Because part of her big thing was she doesn't trust people easily, but once she does, she protects you. And so I want to know if Talon has built up enough trust with her to earn her undying protection, or whether that would have shattered it. How does Talon feel about Luz trying to protect her Zent?
That was an interesting one, actually. In that encounter, Talon started off because he recognised Priv as an enemy who he wanted to beat him before, so he starts to go full out attacking him. Then Luz starts saying, like, don't attack him, etc. I think the turning point in that encounter was when Luz got in the way of Chupa's attack, and Talon would have been just like, okay, that's different. That's different. I'm gonna ignore Kriv. I'm gonna focus on protecting Luz, and maybe hear what Kriv has to say at the end. That's the way I was gonna play that one out.
Luz doesn't like Talon, so she would have been furious, called him out for his hypocrisy and cowardice.
Why not? I can't think why she doesn't like Talon. Why didn't she like Talon?
I can't tell you that because she's not told me.
Did I insult her the first time we met or something?
Maddie says Luz would have struck him down.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm curious to know, does anybody have any questions for me about the D&Ds? We've got about... I'm going to stream for another 10 minutes or so. It wasn't clear in the story, did Talon and Astrid really have a romance together, or was it one-sided?
Difficult. I deliberately didn't go too far into that. I saw it more as like a family life between Astrid, Talon and Zane. They were there together like a family more than anything else.
He kind of tested her patience from the beginning. I think the tip of the iceberg was when he stole the petrification ring and she beat him out.
I maintain I was justified in that.
Okay, so you've got 10 minutes. Do you guys have any questions for me about the D&Ds? Geoff, you are included in this.
Oh, it does say Phil and Lover got married, okay.
Usually it's because of their elaborate routines. But tonight, special guest from the south aired the applause.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm just looking at some of the extra stuff in my backstory I've got to play with.
So what else is on there that we might be seeing in the future? I can't remember what.
Obviously, a bit about getting married.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got life events. I've got suffered a tragedy. Gained a bit of good fortune. We haven't had that one yet. Performed service for a temple. Wrongly accused of kidnapping.
Right.
Spent some time working as a criminal. Fell in love and got married. Serves on a pirate ship. And the smuggler keeps me from getting caught, so there's a lot of stuff to play with still. That's an interesting one. Have you already prepared an ending for the characters of SKT and TOA?
I mean, an ending... It's difficult to say. Like, I have one ending in mind for one character. I have another ending in mind for another character. The kind of... What can we say, Amy? Apparently you're very easily kidnappable.
One way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, so she's like Daphne.
Very much the Princess Peach of the Dungeons and Dragons world.
or she's Daphne, like from Scooby-Doo.
Okay, I've got...
Too bad she doesn't just stay kidnapped.
I've got endings in mind for two characters. Or I've got elements elements of endings in mind for Briar, and I've got elements of endings in mind for Kriv. I've got scenes that I would like to see if things start going that way in this session on Friday. And Sammy and I have discussed this.
So the dead characters.
So basically the dead characters, yeah.
I think this came...
The thing is, for everybody else's character, they will... Like, there is the potential for them to die. Everybody can have an unlucky roll, or a monster can be particularly tough one week, or, you know, the dice can go well in my favour or poorly in your favour, and anybody could fall to the dice. And at the moment, with the death curse occurring, that makes death final, much more so than standard D&D. I've got plans in place for where both the Storm King's Thunder crew and the Tomb of Annihilation crew are going to go next. So after they finish the plot line they're currently working their way through, I know where they're going to go next. So at the moment, I'm not planning endings for anybody. But if things start going that way, or if people come to me and say they want to change character, but they want to write their current character out in a dramatic fashion, I can work with that. I've got ideas for some crossover events. I've got characters that I know are going to cross over from one to the other, and it's a case of waiting a couple of weeks, and it is close for one of the characters to cross over. I've got an idea for a bigger crossover, which I'm thinking I'm probably going to have a Christmas crossover event.
Yay!
You know, just to be, you know, just to be that big sort of multi-part crossover at Christmas time.
Do like EastEnders and kill off a load of people.
We'll see how the dice go.
That's the thing. That's the thing, though. It seems to me to be actually very difficult to die in D&D because you've got to fail a bunch. You've got to fail a bunch of dice rolls in a row, or a significant number of dice rolls.
Basically, there's if you are reduced to negative your hit points in a single hit, you die because you've taken so much damage. But obviously, that gets harder the higher up in level you go.
Yeah.
After you die, like after you fall over, unconscious, you have to fail 3 death saves. But any damage you take while you are unconscious is an automatic failed death save.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, if you take damage while you're unconscious, that's a failed death save. If somebody attacks you, because you are prone on the ground, it's an automatic... You are at...
it's an automatic hit.
It's an automatic critical hit. And that counts as 2 failed death saving throws. So if somebody comes up to you with a sword and stabs you, it's really easy to die. But the thing is, a lot of the motivation of the monsters is to focus on everybody and take out all of the threats. So unless you've got something specifically targeting one character, as soon as a character drops unconscious, they stop paying attention to that guy, because that guy's not in the fight anymore, so they'll go after everybody else. If it can happen that a single turn you can just die. But obviously that's not interesting. I mean, obviously, if you've got a certain character that is particularly targeting you, you're more likely to die. If say, somebody from your backstory came up and had a real beef with you for something, then that is more likely to kill you off than, say, a wandering monster that's coming through. I mean,
I guess it kind of depends on the GM telling the story as well, because they may say, okay, you should be dead by rights, but for whatever reason you're still required for the story, or for whatever reason you can make it back out of it.
That's the other thing, is like there's GM fiat or GM fudging that is typically easier to do when you're playing it with standard dice or rolls that the players can't see, where you say, oh yeah, that missed, that totally missed, or that definitely hit, and you've just rolled the dice that definitely didn't do that thing. Or, that just rolled a hit when secretly you rolled a critical hit and would have outright wiped out the player that you're hitting. And so you can sort of fudge that way, and you tend to do that to try and keep your players alive if they don't want to die, and if you don't want them to suddenly lose their character. The events of the session this Friday are a week after. I mean, this is something that people would be asking me questions about, is what's on the calendar. When things happen in relation to other events. Although at the moment the Tomb of Annihilation crew have kind of gone on to a separate field that is Feywild, that will take however long that takes. I think it's about the 18th.
Your stream's starting to crash out a bit now.
That's probably because I've just opened up Chrome.
Going back to the question of endings a moment, I think this is because I was having a chat with Sammy about this earlier on about character endings, and I hinted that I had an ending in mind for Talon.
Yes. I'm curious about that too.
Well, if you want to find out what it is, you'll have to keep him alive.
Ah.
Well, he wants to kill him. And there goes my Twitch. My Twitch just crashed.
Oh dear.
Yay. Technical difficulties all around.
Okay, I've stopped having Chrome open so that hopefully my end of things start to go well. Skyreach Castle is happening on the 18th of Tarsak. It is happening on...
Which streamer's gone, by the way?
it's gone. I mean, it's telling me it's still here on my
I'm
end.
just refreshing now just to make sure.
Refresh.
Right, you're offline. You're off. Live. Are you? Yeah, you're back. You're good.
He died for a minute, guys. He died.
Yep.
The epic freeze frame that I have at the moment.
I've just got John looking like he's going to slap this camera with his backhand.
Yeah, same. The epic.
I would blame him if he did.
The epic freeze. I've already refreshed. I want to refresh again.
Well, if you've already refreshed, you've refreshed once, so that's fine. So you should be seeing us moving again.
Well, I had the freeze frame, but yeah. Yeah, it's still crashing. Every time we refresh, it's just getting a new freeze frame.
Well, I mean, it's still saying I'm live here, so...
Well, yeah, we're just getting an awesome freeze frame.
I can't really...
Mine is doing adverts. I shall inform you of where they get once they figure their...
Maddie says, if we go 10 years into the future, I'm going to rage.
I mean, that's awfully specific. If it's less than 10 years, are you going to be okay with it?
It's got 9.9 years into the future.
I think it needs to be more like 1 hour into the future.
Specifically 47 minutes.
Ah, crap.
Oh dear, it was going well.
Oh.
Actually, John, maybe that's an idea. Maybe we should do the after action stream for D&D.
One moment.
John died. John's dying, along with the rest of us.
One moment. Okay, I'm going to try that and see if that can stream better.
Sonic Screwdriver will fix it.
Can you guys still hear the stream?
No, I've got you on the Discord, so I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to assume that you can hear me again, at least. Hi, and cursor.
Hey.
I've turned off the webcam, and so hopefully that's going to keep things going for a few more minutes. Your feet's hurt. What did you do to your feet?
Your feetsies.
What did you do to your feetsies? Assault on Skyreach Castle takes place on the 18th of Tarsak, so it is Romad's birthday. It is a few days prior to the events of what is currently happening in Storm King's Thunder. What other questions were asked? What's on the calendar? Events of the past.
There's dates on the calendar.
Events that have happened. There are 3 events that are in the future that are certain characters' time up.
I like the way he says that.
Everybody who has told me a birthday is their birthdays are on the calendar. Bye, Amy. See you tomorrow, hopefully, for Pandemic, assuming I have a computer that works by then. Let's see, other questions. Any other questions came up? Bye, and cursor. Yep, okay, black screen is what I'm actually transmitting at the moment, because I don't have a I don't have a background on this computer. Let's see if I can switch back to this. What other things were asked? Oh, well, Theodos's birthday is, I mean, in one way you're already there because you've had a day, but then also are you going to wait to celebrate it when you're back on Earth? Or like back on the prime material plane? Because when you wake up this next day, then technically for you guys from your perspective, it's been a day since it was the day before Theodos's birthday. So you can have a 201st birthday party.
Oh dear.
There's
Maddie was
one
not
other.
happy with something you said.
I don't necessarily mean it's the day they're going to die, I just mean it's the maximum. It's the furthest into the future their death could be. That doesn't make it better, really, does it?
Not really.
Kind of ominous.
There's other character on there as well.
Yeah, but nobody cares about him.
I mean, they. You don't know the gender of Syndra. Which, by the way, there has been a lot of LGBT support in both Tomb of Annihilation, which is a surprising place to find it, and also Waterdeep Dragon Heist has a lot of LGBT characters, which is kind of cool. For instance, one of the people that they develop in the city is a same-sex elf couple, which is nice if you like that sort of thing. And they obviously do. Any other questions before my laptop literally melts a hole through my books?
Was it getting hot in there?
My laptop is. It's only a Surface. It's not fully intended for stream hosting.
For these sorts of purposes.
So popular had they become, they had to stop taking orders for the shirt after receiving more than 5.
I think we better wrap it up there, actually.
Surprisingly, Geoff didn't get any cactus threats. Why do I still get them?
I wonder.
And I've just found more cactus.
You keep those away from Maddie.
I don't know. I quite like sharing my cactus.
Why did you bring back Nemesis Kriv in the first place? Largely, yeah, just to break Amy's heart.
Wait, Amy has a heart?
Not anymore. We smashed it.
We broke it, smashed it, and stamped on the remains.
I didn't know she had one in the first place.
Largely, it was an idea that I'd been playing with pretty much since the start, was that, or pretty much since he died, that he was going to come back in some way. And that's why his body disappeared. I was kind of hoping that it was going to be the one time, like, it was the only time that the characters actually taken the body with them. Every other death, they've just left and moved on, whereas Nemesis Kriv, they took the body as if they knew that I was going to try and do something with it. which I suppose really means I should just resurrect all of the other kills they've done and send them back against the party.
But by your own rules, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I'm a slave to those rules. Maddie is asking to borrow a cactus.
I've got plenty to go around. We can all grab
Tell you
some.
what, Maddie, when it comes to MCM, we'll ask Sean to bring the cactus and bust John over the head with it.
Yeah.
Y'all are slowly destroying mine. We are enriching the heart. We are telling a collective story, and everything will be fine. Everything will be fine.
Maybe.
I mean, this week, Nemesis Kriv only has to go up against an entire castle, more or less alone. And then on Sunday, you face the last two challenges set by the princess, and maybe she'll let you back into the material plane.
She feels like it.
If she feels like it.
Who's listening to the news?
Geoff.
That's Geoff.
That's me. Sorry, it's very loud on my end. I'm sorry.
I just heard Theresa May. He's like, what?
Is now making a comeback in Dungeons and Dragons.
God, I hope she's not.
Yeah. I think
She's giving me the boss of the team in Annihilation.
She totally is now. Now you've said it, now must be true.
Sadly, she isn't. I know who is. And
Minecraft, I would really like it if you would not play like this.
And you guys that are going up against the Tomb of Annihilation, you guys have got a real humdinger of a boss fight coming. That final boss fight of Tomb of Annihilation. I should bring Mouse to MCM. I've got other plans for things to bring to MCM, Scar. There'll be a nice heartfelt reunion between Theodas and Renala Lorcaran. The Lorcarans will be happy and live happily ever after in a little white house with a picket fence, and they'll raise 2.4 children and a dog. That's what families do, isn't it?
Slightly concerned about what you're going to do to get the 0.4, but hey.
I still like that Scar thinks he can do anything against Princess Dandelion.
You just have to admire the hope.
Thank you, Base Wank. What do we want? Low-flying airplane noises. When do we want them? Meow.
Fair?
And that's the last thing I saw before my phone died. So I'm definitely calling this stream here. Guys, tomorrow I'm hoping to be back at full streaming capacity with an ability to play video games rather than just looking at my face. Because, I mean, my face is great, but video games are cool too. Geoff, Amy, and myself, and hopefully Chris as well, will be trying to survive January of Pandemic for the second time. Pandemic Legacy Season 1. That used to be the average number of children in a British household, Maddie. There was a sitcom named 2.4 Children that was based on the fact that 2.4 was the average number of children a family raised. I think it may have gone up now. We'll look into it.
We'll do some research.
We'll do some research. We'll get back to you. So tomorrow we're going to try and survive Pandemic Legacy Season 1, January the 2nd time. January 2, Electric Boogaloo. And then Friday. Oh, Friday. Friday, the assault on Skyreach Castle. Nemesis Kriv has been infiltrating the Dragon Cult for a little over a week now. And he's managed to get into a few scrapes along the way, as seen in Castle Neata. But he has now found the location of their ultimate base, Skyreach Castle, and he is on his way there to infiltrate it. Will he survive the infiltration? Will he survive the special guests I've got lined up to join him on his quest?
Will he survive? Full stop.
Will he survive? Full stop. Will Amy scream at me?
Probably.
Yes, almost certainly that last one. But the others are very much up in the air. But for now, guys, farewell. I can't actually raid or anything, so you're